Okay. All right, everybody. Good to see a courtroom full. This is a public meeting of the Denham Springs City Council held 6 p.m. July the 28th, 2025 here in the courtroom of the Municipal Building, 116 North Range Avenue here in Denham Springs, Louisiana. All notices have been posted and the media has been notified as required by law. I'd like to call the meeting to order and ask for Councilman Poole to lead us in the invocation and the pledge.
Privileged to do so, Mayor. Thank you. Let's pray. Father, we're humbled once again to invite you into this chamber as we conduct the business of this great community this evening. We just ask, Father, that you would be resident in our hearts, that you would steer our decisions, and that we would do all that we do with a focus upon you and your glory. Thank you, Father, for your continued blessings upon this great community, upon all those that work here and make it run as efficiently as it does, but even more so to those who choose to call it home. So, Father, we give you thanks as we convene this meeting. Again, we just ask for your presence, we ask for your guidance, your wisdom, and we ask, Father, that you would help us to put you first in all that we do, with all that we have. And we ask this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam Clerk, would you call the roll, please?
Dugas. Here. Gilbert.
Here.
Lamb Williams here. Poole.
Here.
Wesley.
All right, so before we get into the meeting this evening, I need somebody to make a motion to amend the agenda to add approval of change order number 1 in the amount of $51,597 to L. King LLX for the Vortex Grit Removal System Rehab for 2025. So I'll need a motion and a second and then a vote.
Motion to lift the agenda according to the mayor's recommendation.
Motion by Poole. Second. Second by Gilbert. Madam Clerk, call for the votes.
Dugas. Yes. Gilbert.
Yes.
Lamb Williams. Yes. Poole.
Yes.
Wesley.
Okay, this will become item number 20.
And can you real quickly again tell us the details on that, Mayor? It was L. King.
L. King, it's a grit removal rehab. We're having to add $51,000 to it.
Good enough. Thank you, sir.
We have Faber and Associates here to discuss it all the time. Okay. Okay, now item number 1 is going to be the presentation of the Sean Kelly Memorial Award. So we'll call Rodney Walker, our Chief of Police, to come up and talk about it.
Thanks, Mayor. So, if we have our display here, most in this room remember just a little over 2 years ago, we lost Corporal Sean Kelly in a tragic senseless act of violence here in the city to gunfire as he was ambushed. But this isn't so much about what happened that day as how he lived. And we came up with this award to honor him yearly around that time, but also to push our officers and our employees to strive to be like he was, in that he was a true servant. The Bible talks about being the hands and feet of Jesus, whether he knew it or not, he was. He really went out every day and served to the best of his ability and left lasting impact with those that he was around in so many different ways. I always like to tell the story of one of the last conversations that him and I had before that tragic day. There had been a situation where him and I both kind of got in trouble for kind of working outside the lines, outside of our rank structure, and this brought a weeks-long problem from him more than anybody. And in the conversation where we laid all that to rest and reminded each other what we're there to do and here to do as servants, he told me in these exact words that he just wants to see this place better. He just wants to make this place better. And that's what he did every day. So now, yearly, we're gonna honor, one, person who our people believe does just that, serves the city and the people of the city, in the way Sean did. And, on the award, we have a little brief, write up. This is basically, in a nutshell, this is what it is. The Corporal Sean Kelly Memorial Award is selected by the men and women of the Denham Springs Police Department for the dedication and commitment to the city of Denham Springs with the goal of the betterment of the city and department by going above and beyond on a daily basis, just as Corporal Sean Kelly would have done. 2025, in honor of Corporal Sean Kelly, ended watch June 2nd, 2023. This year's recipient, honoree, that was selected by our employees is Lieutenant Keith Scobie.
I think we all know Keith, and we know how good a job he does for us all. And we personally want to thank you for your lifelong commitment to the city of Denham Springs. And we know that we have many years to go. We look forward to continue working with you, my friend.
Thank you.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Appreciate you. All right. Thank you, Chief, for starting this. I think this is a wonderful thing for our department, and look forward to see who's going to step up next year, right? All right, guys, y'all have and girls, excuse me. You have a lot of good work ahead of you, so we appreciate all that y'all do for us as well. If y'all would like to leave, you're welcome to stay for the whole meeting. Okay.
Not with enthusiasm.
I get it.
Thank you all for coming.
Thank y'all so much, yes. Okay, item number 2, approve as published in the official journal minutes of the July 8th, 2025 City Council meeting. Motion by Wesley,
Second.
second by Dugas. Madam Clerk, call for the vote, please.
Dugas. Yes. Gilbert.
Yes.
Lamb Williams. Yes. Poole.
Yes.
Wesley.
Item 3, authorize the lot size variance, lot size to be 78 by 82 to reflect item RS-843, located in section 45 T6S-R3E GLD, City of Denham Springs, Livingston, Louisiana, V-1040, requested by Thomas Addison, and this address is on King David Drive. Mr. Banks, you want to talk about this really quick, or Mr. Addison?
I'm the guy.
Oh, Mr. Addison, okay.
Thomas Addison.
Mark, if you want to come up and talk about it real quick, it'd be great.
We're just trying to get a variance on this property so we can move forward with doing our due diligence on this section of land.
If you look at your map, these lots were all standard size. Whenever this property was sold to the property owners that built the home,
They didn't build it where it was supposed to be built.
So, in order to accommodate the potential sale of this property at some point in the future,
We're trying to get it, yeah.
they're trying to get all their stuff together so that it's a legitimate size lot here in the city. I think it's the only house still left on King
It
David.
is, yes, sir.
Right, so it's not encroaching on anybody else, it's not causing any issues for anybody. Passed it, said it was okay. Planning and zoning, they approved it, okay. Any questions from anybody on the council?
Motion to approve. Second.
Motion by Lamb Williams, second by Dugas. Madam Clerk, call for the vote.
Dugas. Yes. Gilbert.
Yes.
Lamb Williams. Yes. Poole.
Yes.
Wesley.
Okay, take care of it.
Thank y'all.
Yes, sir. All right, now, item number 4. introduce an ordinance, and we're gonna authorize a public hearing for a proposed ordinance to amend section 1.02 of Article 1 of the Denham Springs Zoning Commission Ordinance of 1990, as amended, City Ordinance 1001 by adding thereto paragraph 199 from R1 residential to R2 residential for the purpose of a two-family duplex residence located in section 44 T6S-R3E GLD, City of Denham Springs, Livingston Parish, Louisiana, RZ-456, requested by Brian Brooks, Myrtle Street and Coronet Street. Public hearing to be held August the 25th, 2025 at 6 p.m. here in the courtroom of the municipal building. So need a motion to authorize the hearing.
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Wesley,
Second.
second by Lamb Williams. Madam Clerk, call for the vote, please.
Dugas. Yes. Gilbert.
Yes.
Lamb Williams. Yes. Poole.
Yes.
Wesley.
Item 5, we're going to hold a public hearing on an ordinance to amend section 1.02 of Article 1 of the Denham Springs Zoning Commission Ordinance of 1990 as amended, the City Ordinance 1001 by adding thereto paragraph 198 R-1 residential to I-1 industrial for the purpose of a contractor's laydown yard located in section 45 T6S-R3E GLD, City of Denham Springs, Livingston Parish, Louisiana, RZ-455. It's on East Street. So we declare the public hearing open. Is there anybody here that would like to speak for it? Sean?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Members of the council, Sean Heimer with Alvin Fairburn and Associates, here on behalf of the owner, Mr. Brooks. He purchased these 2 lots and desires to store some of his construction equipment. He has some work vehicles, some lawnmowers, tractors, that kind of stuff. And in order to be in accordance with the city ordinances, property needs to be rezoned to industrial. And that's why we're here, to make that request.
Okay. Anybody have any questions for Sean?
Sean, is this is the property that has a wooden fence around it?
Correct.
There's a house next door to that. Is that included in this or not?
It is not. The house on the same side.
Yeah, right to the right of it. It looks like an
I'm not
abandoned
sure
house.
whose home that is. That is not part of this.
Okay.
These are the 2 lots adjacent.
Just the fenced in area.
Correct, yes, sir.
Okay. Thanks, Sean. Is there anybody here that would like to speak against this change? Okay, and then council, I think you have also seen some information in your package today, some comments from the city building official. I guess you've had a time or a chance to read those as well. Okay, no other comments from the council? Motion.
I'm sorry,
Right.
whenever they had the hearing at planning and zoning, did we have any neighbors, anybody come to speak out against it? Or was anyone concerned over,
Nobody showed up?
no one,
There were no comments.
no
No
comments?
comments, okay. All right, so we need a motion to close the public hearing.
Motion to close the public hearing? Second.
Motion by Lamb Williams, second by Dugas. Madam Clerk, call for the vote.
Dugas? No. Gilbert?
Yes.
Lamb Williams? Yes. Wesley?
Yes.
Poole?
Yes.
This was a motion to close the hearing.
Yeah.
Okay,
Oh,
all right.
sorry.
That's all right.
I'm going with them. I'm already in it. Yeah.
Item 6, we're going to approve an ordinance to amend section
Gotta hit myself.
1.02 of Article 1 of the Denham Springs Zoning Commission Ordinance of 1990 as amended, City Ordinance 1001 by adding thereto paragraph 198 R-1 residential to I-1 industrial for the purpose of a contractor's laydown yard located in section 45 T6S-R3E GLD, City of Denham Springs, Livingston Parish, Louisiana, RZ-455 on East Street. So this is a motion to approve or disapprove. Okay. Madam Clerk, would you call for the vote? Or comments? Comments?
Yeah, I think we
Okay,
need to discuss this.
all right, go ahead, sorry.
Go ahead, Jeff.
So once we approve this, it's industrial. And so if he no longer is there, if he sells his property, then it remains industrial. And so it's in a neighborhood. There are houses on each side of the house, and the right side's abandoned, but there are houses all around it. There is commercial property behind it, though. I think there's a trailer park back there, and maybe some other commercial property behind it, right there. So that's the consideration, is not what he would do with it. We know what he would do. He has it fenced in, he has some equipment there now,
trucks parked there now. You can't see it, it's all behind the wooden fence. So, no, I'm not really too concerned about what he's doing with it. My concern would be what happens to it if he sells it down the road.
I agree with you. And I got a little ahead of myself a minute ago. That was my concern with it being a half acre with the two lots together. There's just so many, and industrial, the possibilities down the road. I feel like it would put us in, yeah, that's my concern. Later down the road, 10, 15, 20 years, if he no longer owns it, or 5 years no longer owns it, and someone comes in, it could be, I mean, when we look at the possibilities, you know, just all car washes, lumber yards, welding, wholesale markets, there's a lot there that would really encumber a neighborhood's just ability to live. If you're living next door as a neighbor in a house with kids or not, just anybody, it would make it rough. So, yeah, that's my concern also.
I echo both your comments. It also clearly meets the definition of spot zoning, which is kind of a dangerous thing. Is spot zoning actually has been challenged successfully in court. Again, this thing is completely, there's commercial behind it, there's residential on the other three sides of it. There's nothing industrial. It's right in the middle. So my feelings on this is exactly the things y'all stated as you know, what this could become, and you have residences on both sides and across the street. But from a legal standpoint, this is spot zoning. This steps way outside of what our zoning was intended to do to begin with. So I have concerns.
Anyone else?
Mayor, what did we do with I'm thinking of the property in front of Healing Place Church, for instance. How is that classified? That little industrial expansion in front of Healing Place? Is that considered a laydown yard? So I-1 industrial, or is it I-1?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, is because that's the only zoning classification that will allow this official term laydown yard to apply to a piece of property. So it does seem like the tail's wagging the dog, kind of, to me, that there should be another way to allow this person to use that property for a very light industrial purpose without giving up permanent rights to deny something like a welding shop in the middle of a residential neighborhood.
As I understand, and Sean's more the expert on our zoning laws because he deals with them every day, but we don't have like light industrial. I think is where you're heading with this. Maybe something, another.
Or an exception for commercials even.
The current city ordinance is required, as you stated, for the construction of it has to be in industrial. I can tell you that the property owner has no intent or desire to use it for an industrial use. It's just that that's the only use that currently allows the laydown yard. I would, I guess, point out, there's been some other recent projects that got approved here. There was one on Edgewood, not too far from the church. Same exact thing. The owner desired to use it as a laydown yard. It was in a quote-unquote commercial area through there, and it got approved for rezoning to industrial. They also had one over just north of Denham Springs Junior High. There's a car wash there. It's across from Jason Drive. Same thing. The owner desired to use it as a construction state laydown yard. They rezoned it to industrial. So we're kind of stuck in that. That's the only zoning that this is allowed.
Right, okay.
Certainly, if there was some type of conditional use that this could be approved with, he would be open to that.
Yeah, we do have a precedent for that as well. I think the two examples you used, though, we moved from commercial to industrial, not R1.
Correct.
I think everybody up here has great apprehension with that idea, just in theory.
It's considered a laydown yard because he's storing his equipment there.
Correct. Yes, sir.
Equipment being trucks, lawnmowers, is it, what type of business is he in?
Like you stated, light construction equipment, lawnmowers, tractors. I guess it'd be a one or two.
And you can put supplies there also, is that correct? For a laydown yard, like they could,
Yes,
put
ma'am.
building supplies.
And it really doesn't align with the industrial type
Yeah.
use.
Yeah.
There's just, it's an all or nothing thing.
I kind of agree with Councilman Poole on this. There's got to be a different way. I definitely can't see rezoning this industrial right in the middle of residential and commercial. This, like I said, it's clearly spot zoning and it's not a
If it
responsible.
wasn't surrounded by homes, that would be a different story. But this is right.
But can you imagine living next door?
Right. And I understand the owner's intent now, and that's not the problem.
No,
Like
at all.
Councilman Wesley pointed out, it's down the line, if something else happens, you've opened the door to a whole lot of, but this also steps way outside of our zoning map as it is now, so.
Okay, anybody else have any questions? So just a motion,
Or die for a lack of.
we do that too. No motion? No motion?
I think I'd almost rather take action.
And then that way they know where they
That's
stand.
what, yeah.
Well, if we deny this tonight, we can always take a look at
Right.
other opportunities,
And we're really
so.
denying on the fact that it's industrial going in residential, and then going forward, can we work on something to maybe come back to the table in a different way?
I'll make a motion to deny the rezoning.
Motion to deny by Gilbert,
Second.
second by Lamb Williams. Madam Clerk, would you call for the vote?
Dugas,
Yes.
Gilbert,
Yes,
Lamb Williams,
Yes.
Poole,
Yes.
Wesley.
Yes.
Okay, so the motion is denied. Thank you, Sean. Item 7, hold a public hearing for an ordinance to amend the code of ordinances for the city of Denham Springs, chapter 106, by adding section 33 relative to gas tap fees. Eddie, did you want to address that?
What is it, Mayor?
I'm sorry, item 7 is on the gas tap fees that you worked with Darrell and Dugas on.
Bottom of the sheet.
That's where we're going to utilize Feliciana welders in case of emergency use or lack of manpower to be able to do gas taps for us for new construction.
Yes, as you guys may or may not be aware, unfortunately for the gas department, they've lost a lot of skilled employees to some of the private for-profit gas companies. And so they don't have the manpower that they have had in the past to install new services, take out old services, replace excess flow valves, things like that. Or they are, I can't remember how many people they've lost, but it's 8 or 9 if I'm not mistaken. This would allow the contract those services to Feliciana welders.
And it would allow us to collect the fees that Feliciana charges us from the homeowner or the builder.
There's a tremendous amount of competition for competent, qualified employees in every department that we have, without exception. And so this is our fallback for until we can get everybody back up to speed, hired and trained, certified,
Yes, sir.
OQ qualified. And so this is a way for us to continue to help our citizens that want to build new homes, because that's really what most of this is for, is for new home construction.
I'm sorry, so you said, so all the fees that Feliciana would be charging, like, we would just pass that
This would
on?
give us
Yes.
this would allow us to pass those fees on.
And how far behind are we running?
It's not so much that we're running that far behind, but we know that it's
But we
coming.
know it's coming,
Yes.
okay.
You just want to get out in front of it.
Yeah.
That's exactly right.
Well, I appreciate that.
So what, the only thing that makes me nervous is what controls do we have over the charges from this exterior contractor?
They have a proposal in your packet.
No,
Just the ordinance.
just the one you said.
Right now, if one of those services is conducted by an employee of the city, is that a cost passed on to the homeowner in addition to the gas tap fees?
Not in addition to only the supplies, right?
Right. Currently, we have, in our ordinance, a chart that details, charges for gas tax. And it's based on size and what have you.
Okay.
And then we're allowed to pass, by ordinance the cost of actual supplies onto the builder. So this will just allow us, in the event that we have to use Feliciana Welder or whoever, we'll certainly go and find the lowest cost qualified vendor. It'll allow us to pass those costs on to the contractor or the builder.
And how does that contractor establish that charge? Here's what would concern me is I have something done and the city does it, and all I pay is the customary fees and the cost of materials. And then next door to me, somebody does exactly the same thing and the city can't do it. So they go outside to a contractor who lays $2,000 in labor costs on top of it, and exactly the same thing now is done for a different rate. That I'm completely opposed to
And
that.
that is what's gonna happen.
Very well.
Because the fees that the city charges, you guys are absorbing a lot of cost now, work. So it is gonna be a higher cost, no doubt about it.
And that's arbitrary.
That's something, Robert, that, you know, you could put that out for an annual contract, you know what I'm saying, where you get the best possible price. I know in the interim, Feliciana Wells done a great job for the city, and, you know, they're very competitive in their pricing, so, I mean, I think that's why Darrell had went and, got with Feliciana Welders to give some pricing, because they typically are a little better, you know, so they're a good company to work for. Good company.
Robert, I think we could do that 1 or 2 days. We could just make this a temporary 30 or 60-day provision in case we get in the jam until we can go out to bid and get some more qualified bids. Michelle,
We could do that.
if we do that?
Well, I mean, I feel like
But
I'd also.
it's not really necessary to go out for bid. I don't think there's gonna be that much.
You know,
We could get multiple quotes.
Well, that's what I meant. I'm sorry, multiple.
yeah, I wouldn't, you don't want to pay me to do that.
No, you're right.
I understand, I do agree with Robert. I think I'd feel a little more comfortable if the option was there for the homeowner or the property owner. Like, hey, this is our timeline. It'll take this, you know, we're
Yeah, I
estimating
like
this
that.
time, or you can fast track it and they can come out and do it. They're our subcontractor, but they're gonna charge you this. And if that's in your budget, okay, but if it's not, then this is our timeline. I mean, I feel like I like that option would be there for people if they wanna go, or they have a timeline they've got to do.
Okay.
We aren't holding them up,
That's
you
perfect.
know. So, I mean, I kinda think that would, you know, cover both contingencies there. There you go. You can fast track it. I mean, anytime you fast track anything, you're paying extra. You know, mail, anything. I don't know. I'd like to have that caveat in there.
We have to change the ordinance.
So what we ought to do is go ahead and just table this for 2 weeks until next meeting. And then we just get Stephanie involved to write the new ordinance.
She won't be back.
Okay, I know she's in Brazil on a mission trip.
So we need to table it.
She may be back the Monday before the Tuesday meeting.
So would 4 weeks give us enough time?
Probably should.
Okay, why don't we just table it for 4 weeks?
And what we're asking for is just to have that option in there.
Sure.
That's our, okay.
First, can I make a motion to close the public hearing? And then we'll do it on
Good
number
call.
8.
All right, motion from Lynn Williams to close the public
Second.
hearing, second by Poole. Madam Clerk, call for the vote.
Dugas?
Yes.
Gilbert?
Yes.
Lamb Williams?
Yes.
Poole?
Yes.
Wesley?
Yes.
And then item 8, we're just gonna table it for 4 weeks. Motion by Lynn Williams,
Second. I'm sorry.
Withdraw.
Second.
second by Dugas. Madam Clerk, call for that vote.
Dugas?
Yes.
Gilbert?
Yes.
Lamb Williams?
Yes.
Poole?
Yes.
Wesley?
Yes.
Okay, thank you all.
Mayor?
Yes.
Stephanie's, saying that we need to deny and not table. That we need to deny it and then rewrite it.
Deny it and then rewrite it.
Mhm.
So deny on,
So you're
Reason
basically
to-
denying
So
the
we're gonna have to
ordinance and then.
re-advertise
You have to.
oh, yeah, we have to re-advertise.
So we'll have to
We'll have to re-advertise it.
okay, well, now that we've already voted on it,
Yeah,
We
you're still
also
in the
have to
same
vote
boat.
to take it off the table. I mean, if we're gonna stick to Robert's Rules of Order, we have to take it off the
Amend it.
table and then
Amend it.
deny it.
And take it off.
So I will move that we take it from the table and reconsider line item 8.
motion by Poole, second by Wesley. Madam Clerk, call for that vote.
Dugas,
Yes.
Gilbert,
Yes.
Lamb Williams,
Yes.
Poole,
Yes.
Wesley.
Now we need a motion to,
Motion to deny A.
by Poole,
Yes, sir.
second by Wesley again. All right, Madam Clerk, call for that vote to deny.
Dugas,
Yes.
Gilbert,
Yes.
Lamb Williams,
Yes.
Poole,
Yes.
Wesley.
Yes.
All right. All right, item
Good
9.
catch there.
Approve,
That one didn't-
I know, right? Approve a request from Timothy and Natasha Lavere with Mustard Seed Creamery, Inc. They request a retail class A or high restaurant outlet alcohol permit for the business located at 111 North Range Avenue here in Denham Springs. All right, council, would y'all like to, is anybody here, Mr. Lavere and his wife, and is there something you'd like to say? Name and address, please.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. I'm Jessica Starnes. I am a managing partner of Starnes, Kinney and Easterling Law Firm, and I'm counsel for the Mustard Seed Creamery. My office and my home are both in Central. My office is 8755 Sullivan Road, Baton Rouge, 70818. Just a little bit of background where I was in this private. So my firm, we do our entire practice is licensing, business licensing, primarily around alcoholic beverage permits. Prior to being in private practice, I was the deputy commissioner and executive counsel of the state ATC, so for 10 years. So I sat on both sides of this, and I was also special counsel to Governor Jindal on legislative policy. So I have a little bit of experience on all sides, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you guys may have, because it's my understanding that there are some concerns about an incidental use of the building for a church meeting group. And so I'm happy to discuss the law and any questions, and I don't want to go speaking in your head off. I'll just let you guys let me know what you want to know.
All right.
And Mr. Laverne is also here, and I believe some members of the congregation.
Sure, okay,
I have Stephanie on the phone right now.
okay. So Stephanie is our city attorney.
Sorry for the background music. Okay.
All right. So council, questions on where
I have no questions. I'm prepared to move to approve at the appropriate time. So that's my only contribution to the discussion.
Okay.
Yep, no
I
questions
guess my
on.
question would be, what's changed from last time when we did not approve it?
Oh, that's a great question. And as a matter of fact, though, you did approve it last time. It just did not get renewed when it came up for renewal. Their state permit did, but here's the issue, and I actually agreed with your guys' decision on that and advised my client to change his model, which is why he's here with a new application. So when they had originally applied, the original permit was granted to the Denham Springs Church Project, Inc., which was a nonprofit religious organization. So by its very nature, under the IRS and state law, it's created exclusively for religious purposes. And that created a problem with having a commercial restaurant. So now they set up a for-profit LLC, Mustard Seed Creamery LLC, that has received an assignment of the lease. So it's the lessor of the building, and they're operating as a restaurant Wednesday through Sunday. Their plan is to not be closed in the 1.5 hours on Sunday that the church group is going to meet there. But yeah, there's no inherent religious affiliation there now. So, it's just a restaurant that's letting a church group use its building for free. So there's no co-lease or anything like that. 1.5 hours a week.
So you're basically saying they are still holding church services on Sunday morning for 1.5 hours while there's business
No,
operations?
ma'am. Well, their intent is to not have their restaurant open during that hour. So their hours right now are planned on Sundays from 1 p.m. to 9 p.m. And the church services, the church group will meet in the building from 10:30 to noon. So they would not open the restaurant. I don't think anybody's wanting to booze and dine during church. Or their prayer groups. So maybe some. Well, maybe Catholics.
Well, you missed that vote.
I'm the granddaughter of a Southern Baptist preacher, so I know.
You did
When I
not.
went into this profession, I don't even drink, and he's like, what do you do? And I went to law school in California, he did not like that.
Well, you surely don't have the facts then, ma'am.
I'm sorry.
You surely don't have the facts.
I mean, I expressed.
That's enough. You don't have the facts. Yes.
I'm finished.
I'm sorry, Lori, did that answer your, did you have any other questions before I hop in?
Oh, I did not know.
Oh, no, Lori, I didn't want to step.
No, I just wanted to make sure that I understood what she had said.
I was looking over the state laws, and it was my understanding that if your license is under a restaurant, when you're open, you're to serve anytime your building is in use, it is under as a restaurant, that you can have meetings as long as your restaurant, full menu is available, alcohol is available, that otherwise is an issue.
That's not exactly correct, and that actually did used to be the law, but when I was the attorney at ATC, the law was changed. So that's actually Title 26, RS 26, Section 73. And what it says is that a restaurant permit holder must serve food on all days of operations. So it doesn't say that they have to serve food or alcohol during all hours. And then the requirement is that 50% of their monthly sales must come from food and non-alcoholic beverages.
That's not really our concern. I mean, I appreciate you adding it because we're 60-40 here, so it doesn't, yeah, I mean, it's just a little tight, so I tend to go with that, with the 60-40, but I do appreciate.
You know, and on those lines, another really important distinction is that the state statute, and this is actually one that's been litigated quite a bit. I personally litigated it in the Court of Appeals on behalf of a church in Baker who did not want alcohol sold next to them.
Right.
So the state statute that allows for the distance prohibition is RS 26, Section 81C, and it says that when prohibited by municipal ordinance, there shall be no permit issued to a place within 300 feet of a building used exclusively as a church. So the city ordinance, as I appreciate, does not, that would be Section 10-102, it does not include that exclusive language. However, there's a lot of court case precedent that says that when there's a gap, the state definition and more narrowing language would be applied, so.
Absolutely.
Any other comments? No other comments?
Is our attorney on the line? Can we hear from her?
Stephanie? Okay, is there anything that you want to say?
I'm on a delay here. I'm watching on Facebook Live, so I've heard some through the phone. I've heard some through Facebook Live, but what I'm hearing is, let me make sure I'm correct. They are still planning to have church services on Sunday morning in the building, and at that time, there will not be a restaurant menu served. Is that correct?
That is the intent, because that is my client's Mr. Chairman, I'm speaking of what has been told to me. It's my understanding that is my client's understanding of what is preferred by the council. But I mean, if the council wants them to serve food during the service, they can serve food during the service. In my church in Central, we have a coffee shop, and we sell, you know, we've got CC's, and I go to Journey Church. We got CC's, and there's one in Livingston as well. A little cafe, and so you go in and get a coffee.
That's not the issue. They're allowed to sell ice cream, they're allowed to sell coffee, they're allowed to sell any of those things. But under our current Denham Springs ordinances, we are not allowed to issue an alcohol license to anyone that has a church within 300 feet of their building. And this building at the time of the church services is, you know, it's an ice cream shop, but it's not serving ice cream, it's not serving any menu. This is not the same thing as hosting a Bible study at another restaurant that's fully operational at the time. This is a church that is advertised and housed in that building. And so under our ordinances, we cannot issue an alcohol license at this location.
So I would respectfully disagree because the state statute that enables that ordinance expressly says a building used exclusively as a church. And like I said, I can cite several court cases for you where the court has expressly decided on this one, Bayou Sac Inc. v. City of Ruston. Very similar case, the court held that a building owned by a church and used for rental purposes didn't qualify as a church under a similar ordinance, emphasizing the importance of exclusive use of the religious activities. Another thing that's really important here is that the purpose of that ordinance is to protect the sanctity of the church and the church members and their religious activities. Very notably, the same section in the state statute that allows this distance prohibition, and we're talking about churches, but it's also for public playgrounds and schools and whatnot. That statute, another section of it, expressly allows the members of an organization that owns a building that's used exclusively as a church to waive. So I could have a church and a restaurant wants to come next door. We could come to you and say, you know, the Board of Church could say, council, we waive objection, you can issue the permit. And the permit can be issued.
I agree that can happen under the state statute, but we're allowed as a municipality to be more restrictive than that. And our council has voted recently to maintain our restrictions.
Well,
which is fully allowed under that law.
So
Mustard Seed came and asked for a change in the ordinance. We drafted that ordinance, it was proposed, and it was voted down. And so I don't see what has changed since that point. And my recommendation would be that we deny the issuance of an alcohol license at that location.
And if you all don't mind, just to speak on that, there is another state statute that in the alcohol law, that's gonna be 26, 493. It says, no parish or municipality shall, in the exercise of its police power, regulate the business of selling alcoholic beverages more than is necessary for the protection of the public health, moral safety, and peace. And then there's case law on that has said that when a municipal ordinance conflicts with or is silent on a matter addressed by state law, such as your guys' ordinance on the exclusivity language included in the distance restriction in the state law, the state law prevails or guides interpretation, and that is the City of New Orleans versus the Board of Commissioners. And I'm respectfully, Council, I'm submitting these legal arguments to you for consideration. Obviously, you know, if it's the will to deny the permit, we will take that to the court and we can have that legal debate there. But I'm not coming to you with, I'm coming to you with case law and research, and this is an issue that I am very well versed on. And I mean, like I said, I've worked with municipalities in my other roles on enforcing this statute and the purpose of keeping churches from having a bar next to them if they don't, want to have that there. I would respectfully ask you to think, what is the harm that you are preventing against? Actually, in my opinion, not letting this business do this goodwill or have this service, it could discourage others from letting prayer groups come meet in their facility. And do we not want people praying in Denham? I don't think so. Like, I know a lot. I mean, my knowledge of Denham, I spend a whole lot of time here, is that we are very faith-based and we respect these things. Do we not want to have the church festival not being able to sell beer, the church fair? Because what's the difference, right? Like, then,
these are two different things under Louisiana law that you're talking about. Festivals are a completely different issue and a completely different set of laws.
Well, but when it comes to the distance restriction, the statute's the same.
It's not prohibiting anyone from worshiping or praying where they want to pray. We would never do that. This ordinance is prohibiting somebody from serving alcohol in a church.
And we would be more than happy to, well, it's not a church, it's a restaurant. That would be having an incidental use of a church service for 1.5 hours a week. And my client would be more than happy to serve their alcohol.
This is the primary address and domicile of the church. It's all over Facebook that this is where we meet on Sunday mornings. There's no denying that this is being used as a church.
I think that my client would be willing to put any stipulations or conditions that you guys want? If you want them to have a PO box, is there a municipal address? I just don't understand what is the public harm that we are fighting here.
From my perspective, because I like Mustard Seed, they've got good ice cream there, and I'm glad they do a lot of good in the community. It's not a matter of that to me, it's a matter that we open this door. If we go against what our ordinances say, based upon what our attorney has advised us, then we're opening that door to others who we may not be as excited about them coming in and doing what they would be doing, which could be contrary to, again, to what our law is. That's my concern.
I think when you say, what is the harm, he's saying the harm is the precedent.
Of course, so council member, I'm very glad you brought that up, because I was actually, when I'm going through this, and I'm thinking, what precedent could this set? Really, what precedent could it set? If they want to get an alcohol permit, they just won't be a church. Like, how many people are wanting to set up a church to be a boozing church?
Not necessarily in the same building, but right next door.
It's also.
But then the church would have to waive that and allow
Well,
them.
they wouldn't, that's what I'm saying, is the church would be there established, and then I wanna open an alcohol establishment next door, right next door, and why couldn't I? They got to do it.
You couldn't, because the statute prohibits that, and because you would be a church, a building exclusively used as a church, and then, in this case, the people who are attending this church service on Sunday, they are not opposed to this permit issuance, and I believe many of them are here to speak that. So the only way that you could waive that would be for the church to say, we waive that, we're okay with them getting a permit. And that's
We
the
don't have any
protection.
waiver provisions in our ordinances.
But it's
We
in
don't
the
have
state
any
law.
option for the church to waive it. We don't have any option for the restaurants to waive it. If a restaurant is existing with an alcohol permit and a church chooses to establish next to them, that's okay. That's the church's choice. But what our ordinance prohibits is that a church that is established there, as Mustard Seed is, cannot then have a restaurant get an alcohol license within 300 feet of it.
You do have
That's a
ordinances,
protection
but
that's put in place
ordinances
for
are silent,
churches.
these enabling state law applies. And we can have a difference of opinion on
That
that.
same law that you're quoting allows a municipality to make stricter regulations in this area.
I do not disagree.
Our
But
ordinance,
your ordinance is silent.
our ordinance states that we can't, that you can't serve alcohol within so many feet of a church. My understanding now is that the Secretary of State's office, Mustard Seed Creamery is now is now a business, it's a restaurant. So this, to me, takes away the conflict with the ordinance because, and this is something we discussed before. And, I'm not saying that's anybody's intent, but churches are under attack across the country. And so one of the things that we discussed before is just say, like, we're just gonna say Chili's, right? If a guy says, hey, I wanna start a church, and they say, hey, you can meet in my building, it doesn't mean Chili's becomes a church. It just means they're meeting in that building, holding church services. So by the very definition, it's not a church. We're just holding.
It could have that chilling effect to say anybody with, like my firm represents chili, most of your chains. We would have to start advising our clients in Livingston Parish or in the city of Denham Springs, you cannot allow any religious activity or you may lose your permit.
I don't believe that's true. I don't believe that's true. I believe that's creating just that's irresponsible and creating just widespread panic to even say. We have plenty of restaurants that are fully open restaurants that serve alcohol, have for years, have multiple civic organizations, religious organizations that meet there. Their primary job and duty is to be a restaurant, the full kitchen. Everything is open. They are participating as a restaurant. They do not close and then have another activity, whether church, ball games, Boy Scout, nothing. They are a restaurant. That is where I think there's no need to sensationalize it. That is the issue, is we have restaurants that allow people to come in and have all kind of organizations meet there. That is none of our, we have nothing to do with that. We don't. We're happy for them. Please have our community, and you are happy to have them there. Thank you. the issue that continues to arise with this is the fact of us wanting to not go in and circumvent our own ordinances and open the Pandora's box to what will come, because it does. And to say who will want to have a boozy church, I don't know. 20 years ago, if you'd have asked me who wanted to have an ice cream place that put alcohol in it and mix it, I'd been like, I don't know. There's been 3.
Which is not legal.
Yeah, I know, but they've been here. If you'd have told me you could walk into a nail salon and get alcohol and there'd be no permits 20 years ago, I'd have said, nah, probably not. But they did until the ATC caught up with it. But they still rarely enforce it. So there's a lot of things that happen, but to say that I feel like a firm would come out and
And I will apologize. I don't want to be that direct, and I certainly do not think that is the intent of anyone on this council. I'm just saying, if we are talking about precedent and we're thinking about what could happen the other way, we also have to think what could happen in this direction. And businesses that could be a reasonable fear that they
would need to follow the ordinances. That would be the reasonable fear.
Well, no, ma'am.
Okay.
The ordinance that they.
I believe the press. Yes, ma'am. Go right ahead.
It's just what's the line?
I'm going to give you the converse of that argument.
Mm-hmm.
If we were to allow what you're wanting us to allow, or if we were to change to a building being exclusively used as a church, then existing churches in our community would do the same thing that in your scenario you're proposing restaurants would do. The churches in our community, in order to keep alcohol farther than 300 feet from their door, would have to shut down all other operations and be exclusively used as a church. So now we're no longer going to have Boy Scout meetings at a church. We're no longer going to have the Livingston Parish Children's Choir meet at a church. We're no longer going to have quilt guilds and book clubs and baseball teams using our fields, or basketball teams using our gyms, or Alcoholics Anonymous meeting in our building. We're going to have to be going back to exclusively used as a church. And these are the things that the city council considered a few months ago when we proposed the ordinance to be written the way that Mustard Seed wanted it to be written. And these are the things that caused the city council to vote no to that ordinance. I don't see what has changed between now and then.
I'll
Everything
just
is
push back a
still
little
the
bit
same.
on that. Those uses, just as in this case, the church service is an incidental use. In that case, it is exclusively still a church. It just has some incidental use of letting, some other people come in and use their facility. That doesn't make it, my church lets people do stuff, all the time, that it's still very much
But
publicly
if
known
there's an
as a
ordinance
church.
that says I have to be exclusively used as a church to prohibit alcohol from coming near me, then I'm going to change my behavior. And if that argument is not true and correct, then your argument about restaurants no longer letting Bible studies meet in them is also incorrect. It's the same logic
I will
behind
have my
my argument.
I
And
will-
our city council has considered it and denied it.
I will consent to my argument being, or stipulate to my argument being incorrect on that point.
So the only issue we have now, it sounds like, is because Mustard Seed Church, right, is now saying their address is this. So if they were to say our services are being held at the restaurant, I mean, to me, the whole argument, and I supported the whole exclusively used as. I understood. I didn't disagree with any of well, I'm going to rephrase that. I understood, other council members voting the way they voted. But this is no longer a church. They're just holding church services at the creamery. So for me, I think we're still inside the ordinance. The ordinance says you can't put alcohol in to make it a church. It's not a church. Just like anywhere, if Ron decided to have worship service at La Chien, it doesn't make it a church. It's still a brewery. You're just holding church services there, and that's my opinion. Now I am for the right to worship. I believe we should, and I just don't see where any laws being broken here. I don't see where our ordinance is being violated. If this is no longer in the Secretary of State's office, this is no longer a church, which it never was. It was a restaurant. They just happened to hold church services there. Well, now they've cleaned this up on the book, so it's not a church. it is a restaurant.
And just to clarify on that, on the previous model, because I had, when Tim first approached me, that I was not involved when the original setup and licensing done, and so when he reached out to me, I was like, well, I'm so confused, like, why did you do this, and why is it a religious nonprofit? In a lot of states, that is a thing, and they have set up, and it's basically a charitable restaurant, that operates, and so that was kind of, he sent me the links to several of these things, and I was like, oh, that's very cool. Unfortunately, that doesn't work under Louisiana law, and so, his concept was benevolent, it didn't work, and so I was like, you need to make this a for-profit business, and it needs to be a restaurant.
Well, and speaking to Jim's comment, I think something that just kind of sticks me too is even with it now, which I do appreciate them addressing it and changing it to an LLC, I do. But I do still have a little concern with the fact that the church itself, and from the beginning, this was kind of, I think something that kind of caught us all. There was so much intermingling of all the entities, the church itself, the legal entity, the sales tax, the owners, the officers of both entities, different charitable organizations that operate out of it. It was very, just too much intermingling without having clear-cut lines. Now, even with as our attorney had stated, the fact that the church still, their sole address is that address and they still only meet there, goes back to the argument of if you go to a restaurant and you have a church meeting or a Bible study, but you still have your home church, that's not where all of your structure is happening. So that still is when you look at the black and white of an ordinance, still concerns me if that makes sense, that it's not. And it's still not as clear cut as I feel I would be as comfortable with, since the church still performs all services at that site and its its address is all still there. Also with the fact that, and I truly commend Tim and his wife, they truly service oriented and very benevolent, as you said, but I have not had a chance, nor have I asked them, because I didn't kind of realize how much they had split it off. If now, are they still leaders of the church? Are they still, how all that paperwork
So I can answer some of that, because it's all questions that I asked Tim. It is separate, so the for-profit corporation, Mustard Seating, the new entity, has the lease for the property now. So the church has no, it used to be leased to the, not to the church, but to the Denham Springs Church Project, so the nonprofit. It is no longer leased to them. Now, Tim is a pastor. Tim is also a teacher, and Tim wants to be a restaurant owner. So that he does have hats, but this is a for-profit business, so it has to pay taxes, and all of those accounts are different. It's a very different structure than the whole nonprofit thing. The nonprofit thing just threw me way out, which is why we're here on a whole new path, because it didn't pass the smell, even though the intent was no malicious intent. It didn't pass the legal smell test to me. So that has all been legally separated. I mean, it's entities. Now the fact that he is he is a pastor and he is a teacher and a restaurant owner. So I would ask you, is there anything, maybe any stipulations or consent agreements that would alleviate some of your concerns along that line of, that will not be the domiciliary address of the church, and maybe they are going to have a meeting at someone's house, or not.
Right, not exclusively at that space.
Yes, ma'am.
My concern about that is if I'm inviting somebody to come to Mustard Seed Church, I'm inviting them to come to the creamery. That is the primary meeting space. That's where the majority of the functions are held. It is the church building. The legal structures to me don't matter as much. It's the function of the church. and they meet in that space. It's all over Facebook as recently as last week of people inviting other people to church in that space, which is a wonderful thing for them to do. But we have an ordinance on the books that says if that's where a church meets, that's the church, we cannot issue an alcohol license to somebody within 300 feet. We have nothing in our ordinances that allows us to make agreements and stipulations outside of what's written in the law.
May I add just one thing? The Mustard Seed Church doesn't exist legally. The Denham Springs Church,
Your address for the record.
Tim LeVere, 7860 Lazy Oak Circle, Denham Springs. So the Mustard Seed Church doesn't exist legally. So a group of us, people from North Carolina, Florida, from all over, I said, we want to move home and plant a church. And so we began raising funds to do that. We didn't know what we were going to call it. And we said, we want to do, and we don't just want to do a church, we want to do something different. So we said, well, let's call it the Denham Springs Church Project then, because it's not a church, it's a project of a group of people. So that's the name of our corporation. We ended up naming the group of people that met at our house Mustard Seed Church. And the idea was, we're small, God does great things, big things through small starts, small beginnings. Sorry, I lost my train of thought, give me 1 second. So the Mustard Seed Church, as we continued to meet at our house, it grew, and it outgrew our house, and we said, we need a church building. And we said, we don't want a church building. There's a lot of church buildings that exist. They're open 2 hours a week. It's a lot of money to maintain. It's a lot of space, it's all those things. Let's do something where we can engage with the community, do something the community needs, the community has asked for. And so that's why we said, everybody likes ice cream. So let's do ice cream. And then through multiple conversations, we said, let's do something where people will come and they will linger, not just come and get a scoop and walk out. So we said, so let's do a restaurant. Let's do a restaurant where people can come and hang out. And we don't want to just be a restaurant. We want to be a place where we do fundraisers for St. Jude. I've told, excuse me, I shared this last time. We do a lot of other things and host a lot of other things in the community. And so all that to say, legally, the Mustard Seed Church doesn't even exist. In the same way that the LaShin Running Club, they exist on Facebook, but there's not a legal entity that the LaShin Running Club. And they say, LaShin Running Club, we're going to meet at LaShin on Thursday nights and we're going to run, but they're not a legal entity. Nor is the Mustard Seed Church a legal entity. And so the Mustard Seed Church, which biblically the church is the people. So the people meet at the creamery. We also meet at people's homes for small groups. We actually meet at LaShin every Tuesday night for a small group. There are other groups that meet different places. We've had retreats off-site, so we do other things. But the 2 weekly things we do, one of them is at the creamery. And it is while we're not open. And Stephanie at the last meeting said, in the public meeting said, if you were open, you'd be fine. Maybe there's some questions. I reached out to Stephanie and said, okay, we're going to reopen.
That's a misrepresentation of what I said.
I would encourage you just to rewatch that, because one of our folks actually asked for clarification. But that's fine. At worst, it's a misunderstanding, and I'll concede that. Maybe, and so I emailed her and she said no, and we had several exchanges back, and then she stopped responding to my emails.
I responded to your emails many times, sir, and I gave you full and complete answers. Look, I love your business model. I think you are doing a fantastic thing. You just can't serve alcohol while you do it. We have an ordinance on the books that says you cannot do it.
But we're
You
not a
asked me
church.
to change the ordinance. I wrote it. It went before the council, and the council denied it. You sent me 10,000 emails, and I answered fully and completely. And
That's not an
the same
accurate
question
representation of my
400 times.
communication with you. I didn't send 10,000 emails. I sent quite a few, and you stopped responding.
Yes, sir, I did, because there was
Here's
the same question over and over, and I had fully answered your emails. I also proposed the ordinance that you want me to propose, and we're back on the agenda tonight. I have nothing against you. I am not trying, I like your church model, and I think it's wonderful to reach the community. I'm on a mission trip in Brazil right now. I'm a full proponent of that. But what I'm not a full proponent of doing is going around what the law says, and the law says that we can't do this. The city of Denham Springs cannot do this.
So what makes us a church?
The fact that you have a full church service meeting in your building every day, every Sunday.
What is a full
And
church service?
We do not have a definition of a church. I suggest we use the IRS definition, and you meet the IRS definition.
But aren't all
So
of our,
that's not, if this is up to the council, it's not up to me. And so I'm gonna let, that's my opinion, and if the council has questions, I'm happy to answer them. But I'm not gonna debate the definition of a church. I'm gonna tell you very clearly, we do not have one, and my suggestion would be to use the IRS definitions.
So I'll leave it with, every permit we have says restaurant. With Louise, we have a new state alcohol permit that says we're a restaurant, an AR. The health department, we have a new health department license under the new corporation because we're a restaurant. We have a full commercial kitchen, we have a full menu. Our city permits all say we're a restaurant. Our new tax accounts with the state, with the city, and with the parish all state that we're a restaurant. So we're a restaurant 166 and a half hours a week. And we are trying to be charitable and allow a church to meet in our space. But we're still a restaurant.
Tim, do you mind clearing up? I know last time when you were before us, and because so now everything it's all restaurant. And if you'll explain to me, I know y'all had I'm so sorry, your project to help disadvantaged women and girls, and that was part of how does that fit in, or
But
does
that
it
was
not
just
fit
the philanthropic target was,
Yeah.
but our conversation with Mr. Wesley 3 years ago. And so we restructured, we're for profit now.
Yeah.
And we're, by our choice, we'll use those profits to do the same thing, but we just separated the entities.
Yeah, that's what, so it's all completely separate. So now, like you said, you would use your profits or whatever money, profits or not, it's a restaurant, sometimes they not profits.
None yet.
You use your funds to, like as a donation to a separate charitable organization.
We will still be philanthropic with our profits.
Okay, that's what.
Let me ask you this question, maybe this will help me in my mind. Do you receive any IRS type benefits because you have church services in that building?
No.
When you have a church service, like on a Sunday morning, does anybody in the congregation tithe?
There's no finances that happen at the building. People give to support the Denham Springs Church project, but there's no finances happen philanthropic at that building.
Is the church project still alive?
For no reason now, but yet it is until we're able to, because we have to finish the taxes from June, and then that will be dissolved. And I'll tell you that I didn't realize that the church project address was still 111. We tried to change everything. We updated everything we can, so just to demonstrate to you in good faith, we are trying to do what you asked and say, and Lord, you said, you had to be a church or a restaurant. So we said, okay, we are all in on being a restaurant. But we still want to use the space, allow other groups to use the space, but we are 100% a restaurant. Bar.
Then why does getting your alcohol license mean this much to you? Explain that to me.
Yeah, because restaurants can't survive without those alcohol sales. I mean, can you think of any restaurant outside of fast food that's open in the evenings that doesn't sell alcohol?
Just sell ice cream.
I'll say it like this, Troy Aber, who was the commissioner, who I was the deputy commissioner under, when we would go around speaking to businesses and we would talk about the importance of complying with the laws and not getting your permit suspended or revoked, he would say, a restaurant without an alcohol permit is like a beach without sand. You can have it, but people probably aren't coming. Some just offer beer and wine, and it's just like, not having the option at all is a big deterrent to a lot of people for whatever reason. They want to have a glass of wine, or it's not a bar, so it's not like they have to meet the requirements of limited alcohol sales, but and way significantly more food sales. But and from my personal experience in being a regulator, you have your fast food restaurants, right? But like a sit down restaurant, the ones that don't have alcohol permits don't last very long. That's just reality.
No, 96% of restaurants close in the first year, alcohol permit or not.
That's another reality.
Tim, I'm sorry, just expounding on Lori's. So y'all do not have people tithe, or just not at those events in the building?
No one tithes to Mustard Seed Creamery Inc. There's no giving to Mustard Seed Creamery Inc.
Well, no,
Does anyone tithe in the building when you have services, when you have your church services on Sunday morning? Are tithes collected?
No.
Or is there a website advertised at that meeting as to where you can give tithes?
There's a slide in our announcement slides as a response to people saying, where can I give? And we do have a slide that states that. We could stop doing that,
Where does that money go to?
the Denham Springs Church project.
And so
But-
that's to build a church, is that what that's for, or?
No, I mean, it's funded 95, I mean, we've spent $200,000 rehabbing the building. That all came from people who donated to the Denham Springs Church project.
Is that a 501c3?
The Denham Springs Church project is not because I'm sorry, it is, I'm sorry, yeah.
So donations to that are tax deductible.
To the Denham Springs Church project, yes.
Just, on the tax issue, just like to clarify though, so, for example, like when a church, you know, our big churches in town, when they have a cafe, I actually did the legal work for my church on setting up their stuff. When they have, so like, they have CC's inside of it and a bakery, but it's like a franchise, you know, so the church operates it. Now, it has to be set up as a completely separate entity. That is a for-profit, and they pay sales taxes and collect sales taxes and all of that, so, like, whereas a tithe can go under the IRS rules, to be used, those things are allowed for. Any commercial they can't use the religious 501c to bypass taxes. They would still have to collect and remit sales taxes on everything, any food or alcohol that they sold, you know, in the restaurant.
The reason that I bring this up is because with the IRS, the only reason we're talking about IRS things is because I suggested that's the definition we use to determine whether Mustard Seed Church is a church meeting inside of this creamery. You know, you've said that y'all are trying to get away from the Denham Springs Church project, and you're answering every question as to the Denham Springs Church project and not Mustard Seed Church. So how do we have an assurance that Mustard Seed Church is not going to do these things when you get it set up?
I'm a little bit taken aback.
But my question is more, the way I understand the IRS regulations, definition of a church is what we're using, is to say that one of the factors they consider to determine whether a church exists in existence or not is whether tithing happens in that building, whether worshiping happens in that building, whether community groups that are gathered around religious reasons happen in that building, and all of those things happen for Mustard Seed Church in that building.
Can I just ask for clarity? So I know
We
there's
don't want to stop Mustard Seed Church from meeting. It's a wonderful thing. We don't want to stop Mustard Seed Church from using Mustard Seed Creamery to meet. We don't want to stop all of these collaborations between the nonprofit things that you have going on. You are doing wonderful work, but we cannot issue an alcohol license at that location.
Okay.
So I think she's saying we're bound by law and not by grace. That's kind of what it boils down to.
Yeah, and
And Stephanie, you can step in and correct me here, but it says the term church is not found, but specific, it's found, but not specifically defined in the IRS code. So it talks about integrated auxiliary of a church, and it said certain characteristics are generally attributed to churches, but nothing in there specifically states that IRS is defining what a church is. It says that, you know, for taxing purposes, and I don't think taxing is really the issue here. It's whether this is considered a church or not. That building is not considered a church.
No, it says IRS will treat an organization that meets the following 3 requirements as an integrated auxiliary of a church. Describes both as a 501(c). I'm sorry, I'm summarizing because it's a lot. 501(c) affiliated with a church or convention or association of churches, receive financial support primarily from internal church sources as opposed to public or governmental sources.
It says it will treat the organization that meets.
Well, anything the IRS is
church.
treating, that's what they
but
tax.
I guess this is my clarification. So I know the theater at Jubin, a church met there for a while on Sunday mornings as they were launching. Did that change their status? Did they become a church?
They're outside city limits.
I'm sorry?
They're outside city limits. We don't, any
But
purview.
just for case in point, if Duke Landry allowed a church to start meeting at Duke's, would that change his status and put his alcohol permit at risk?
For me, if he closed his business,
If they're not open already.
no, if he closed that restaurant down and started church services and then reopened that, for me, I would question what was going on. But it would be the same thing. I would have to look and see all the background information from the time they opened, what infractions happened, I mean, just like when you fill out your application and it says, hey, have you ever had a permit denied? What were the circumstances around that? Have you ever, personally or your business, like it would be the same situation. It definitely would be a red flag and I'd go, hey, we need to look at this. And then we would delve in and it'd be a whole another situation. I mean, it would be the same thing. I mean, I know you brought up like Lashian's running group. When they wanted to open, it was, gosh, I don't know, 2-3 years. I feel like maybe I could be being more or less, it seemed like a long time, but of us having meetings, going back and forth, working stuff, and reworking stuff. And I voted against that because I felt like it would open a Pandora's box. I'm very glad I like them personally. They have done great. But there is always the question of needing to take a look at everything that could happen. And then if something outside any infraction of your ordinances happens, you have to responsibly go look at that. You can't just turn a blind eye. So if they decided to become a church or have closed their primary business to do a different business, then we would look at zoning, building, like everything would then come down on that. Like it would all be you need to relook at what's going on there. It wouldn't just be a personal, we don't like that business, or we need to look at that business, or even not personal. But it would be, hey, you're zoned as this, we need to look. I mean, if somebody had someone living in their storeroom, we'd have to go, you're not, it's sad, they're homeless, it's bad, but they can't live here.
Oh, that makes sense, I guess, 166 and a half hours a week, we're a restaurant. And so that's my, even when our church does meet there, we don't, like, the seating stays the same, we still sit on the same tables and chairs, like, no one would walk in. And, I mean, we sing on Friday nights for musical bingo, we sing, so like, it doesn't look any different than when we're open.
All right. And
That's what, and I can, sorry, I don't interrupt.
No.
I mean, that's my, I don't think we're outside of the law.
Okay, could you just clarify? So now we have the LLC. What's the name? The Mustard Seed Creamery LLC.
It's a corporation.
Oh, I'm sorry. So it's like a S Corp, C Corp.
One of those two, I don't remember one of those two.
Oh, I know. That's okay. So it's a corporation. And then the church itself. Because there is still a church, right? I mean, I believe. Is there still a church or not a church?
The people or the legal entity?
Whatever the 5013C is.
The Denham Springs Church Project.
Okay, so there's the Denham Springs Church Project, and then.
Which is in the process of being dissolved. We have to get through this.
Okay, and then after it's dissolved, there will no longer be any church projects? It'll just be y'all donating to independent
I don't know exactly how that will work. That depends on our other legal counsel, what that structure is. We're trying to say this business is a restaurant.
Right.
According to the state, the parish, the city, we are a restaurant.
All right. I appreciate you.
Thanks for asking.
Now, in this agenda item, it says approve request for a license. That is actually an administrative function by the staff. We're not changing an ordinance, so I don't know if, as a council, we have the ability to tell a staff member, but I am willing to put forth a resolution in support of this, based on what the ordinance says.
I'm not sure I follow what you're saying.
Know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't.
Jim, I think if that's what you want to do, you would just make a motion to approve the alcohol license.
Okay. Well, like Robert said, at the appropriate time, I'm willing to.
Well, I mean, so Jeff and I we were just talking, we're asked in this line item to carry out a statutory function that's given to this body. And we're fixing to say no because of a non-existent entity. and I'm trying to find the parallel to this in anything that we've done before. If he's got a meeting there before his business opens, what business is that of mine? What you do within the confines of the law when your business is not open? If it happens to be a group of people that come together and pray, fine. I think that's a lot better than a bunch of people that come together and, play 3-card poker.
So am I misunderstanding, or is there no longer going to be a Mustard Seed Church at all as an entity? Are they no longer accepting tithes at all and no longer paying a pastor at all? Because I might be misunderstanding.
They don't pay a
this
pastor
now,
now, so.
So I'm assuming that if the church just grew to a point where you couldn't hold it, you would start a church somewhere else in a larger building and still keep the Mustard Seed Creamery, which is a now corporation. It's not a church.
Did y'all hear my comment?
No, go ahead.
I'm wondering now, from what y'all are saying, if I'm misunderstanding this whole thing. Is Mustard Seed Church no longer in existence?
So what Stephanie had asked in the last statement was, are you gonna be no longer accepting tithes with any of your?
Or paying a pastor?
He said he doesn't get paid.
Yeah,
Okay.
I don't know how to
So
answer
how are you gonna get donations and tithes?
Yeah, I don't, our other illegal
And what are
council.
they being used for?
Yeah,
Are they being used at all to support the church? To pay any staff members, to host any church functions? Because if they're not, my opinion on this may change.
Are there staff members? There are no staff.
They're saying there's no staff.
Yeah, I don't know how to answer that question, because I don't know what the answer is. The Denham Springs Church project is being dissolved.
Yeah, so are you opening up another
It depends on what our
entity that is
attorney
gonna be
says.
able to collect
I don't
donations and tithes?
I'll speak on that just a little bit as legal counsel, but I am not the legal counsel for the nonprofits, just to say that in my experience on how these things are structured, if the church project is dissolved, that's the religious institute, they could set up another 501c that's just, a regular not-profit or whatever other charitable, there you've got 501c36, trade association, all different kinds of 501cs that are not religious, and people could make donations to those 501cs, and they could use that money to support battered women's or whatever, that nonprofit's mission is, but it would have to be in the disbursement of any donations made to that nonprofit would have to be in line with the purpose that that nonprofit is created for and the type of nonprofit that is. So.
Okay, so
It would just be like when you giving money to the Boys and Girls Club.
a corporation that is being dissolved, and you have every intention to operate under Mustard Seed Church, whether it's formally incorporated or not. Your intention is to advertise Mustard Seed Church in this location. Will Mustard Seed Church take tithes? Will Mustard Seed Church operate as a traditional church with worship services and things? Will Mustard Seed Church gather together around a common religious background? That's what I'm asking the IRS factors for. I'm hearing very carefully worded answers saying, no, the corporation we're dissolving is no longer doing that, but I'm not hearing any answers as to what is actually happening with whatever's requesting this corporation.
Well, I'll let Tim answer a little bit on that, but before he does, I would just like to say that there's a very clear line between what is a tithe and what is a charitable donation. Mm-hmm. And so, a tithe, it's biblical. The Bible tells us what a tithe is. And that's very different than people donating money to a nonprofit because they want to give.
Correct. And that's why I'm asking if it's being used to pay any staff, if it's being used to
it is not. There is no staff.
Buy Bibles. Is it being used to pay for the light bill of Mustard Seed Creamery because they meet in that space? Is it being used to rent space for those meetings? Is it being used to host church events? These are the things we use tithes for. And so I'm hearing a lot of carefully worded answers when we can look at the duck and call it a duck.
Okay, I'll try to hit all those. Mustard Seed Church will continue to meet as an entity, as a group of people around a common interest. All of our advertisements say that we meet at Mustard Seed Creamery. We want to continue to do that. We meet at just like we would meet at Duke's or Le Chien, we meet at Mustard Seed Creamery. Happens to have the same name because that's the same ethos of idea. I'm not trying to be coy. I don't know what our attorney is going to say about how we restructure. Do we restructure as a church or do we restructure as a nonprofit? I don't know the answer to that. So Pelican Fiduciary is our law firm in New Orleans. I don't know how to answer that. I'm not trying to be coy. There has been some question. I've not been dishonest to this group at all.
No, but you did say, and I don't know if this is where Stephanie is going, but you did say initially that whenever you were meeting as a church, and maybe it was at your house,
Yeah.
and you were accepting tithes, that those tithes went into the restoration of this building.
Yes.
Okay,
And that's why this meeting is different than the one from several months ago.
Okay.
We now have two separate entities.
okay. Did these
Your
tithes
one entity
pay,
is paying for the building,
That's
the
what I was
church
gonna
is
say.
paying for the building where they are meeting.
or
Say
the
that again.
electricity?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
Or those tithes that you had been using for the restoration of the building pay for a monthly note, a utility bill,
Up
an electrical bill?
until July, whenever we reincorporated as the Mustard Seed Creamery Inc.
This
So that's why
That
we're
was
in this,
mine.
yeah, we're in this gray area now where we're ending the books on one and reopening as another. So all of our accounts with Entergy, with the city, all of our accounts are now under Mustard Seed Creamery Inc. They were Denham Springs Church Project. So we're transitioning all those things to be above board with this body.
And so you're saying that you're generating enough money as a restaurant to pay those bills on your own, that you don't have to rely on tithes or contributions so
Yes.
far? That's why you were able to change this over?
Yes. Which is why, you asked why this is so important, that's why.
I have very concerning to me when we talk to anyone, that business or private citizen that comes before us, when we look at any application and anything in it is in a gray area. And I really do not mean that poorly. It really, it makes me very uncomfortable, because if we go ahead and okay that, then we're okaying directly that, operating in a gray area. Not having all your ducks in a row, not coming to us with everything in line, maybe coming innocently a little too early. So that to me is concerning. I understand that y'all are planning on dissolving it, and honestly, I think, since you do have an attorney over that area, they would be able to directly answer some of these questions.
What I
I
would,
don't think it would make it necessarily sway us either way, but it does alleviate some of those
Gray areas
concerns.
are wrong.
Yeah.
I think we're in transition, so I'm trying to answer all the
Right.
questions
Well,
honestly, so we
transition or
have
not.
made it out of ties or
Right.
getting up to this point, but we're not as of now.
what I would add, to maybe is because I understand what you're saying and where you're coming from. I don't think that Tim understands the legality. I mean, obviously, all the 501 stuff is very complex, which is kind of probably the reason for his answers.
Oh, absolutely.
But if we say, to the attorney, well, first of all, a religious nonprofit can only be used for it's very narrow, under state law and federal, very narrow purposes. That money cannot be used to pay a commercial rent and utilities. So like legally, that money can no longer be used. Now that they've created the mustard seed, that money cannot be used to pay the building or the bills, like it's the IRS will be coming to collect. And so I think that for the assurance, I think that what Tim is trying to say is that these people who meet, the church people, they still want to be benevolent and charitable, but the thing that the attorney who sets up the nonprofit is gonna have to set that up a different way. Like, they can still be charitable, but it's not gonna be a church charity. Like, they're gonna have to do it through another 501 method, and it wouldn't be tithing, and it wouldn't be used to pay the bills of this facility. Because I was like, is there any fees paid for them to meet here? Like, is there any co-lease or any kind of agreements or stipulations or terms? And he told me, no, there are not. There's no fees paid or anything like that. So So that's all separate, and these bills are gonna have to be paid by the corporation that has all of the stuff in their name. The Denham Springs Church Project can legally not pay the bills of the Mustard Seed Creamery Inc.
And I mean, for me personally, if it would have been, we've been doing that this way for 2 months and we know we can do it and now we're coming before y'all, it would be something that I would be able to look at and say, oh, here we are, those questions answered. But since we are not there, and it is not a dissolve, the church part is not dissolved yet, it's still here, it's still there, it's not dissolved.
Well, they can't, you can't dissolve an entity until all of the tax reporting terms are done. So like, even if the entity is no longer like taking income in, it still has to stay in existence. Like if I have an LLC, if I stop being a lawyer, I can't just close my LLC down until all of the tax years that have had income are covered, and all that has to be done before you can close out the legal entity. And so, when he started going down the process of setting up the for-profit and getting all of the permits, which wasn't this month, the lease was done last month. So these things started, the for-profit and stuff was put in place before that, and all those accounts have to set up. And we have you because usually when a restaurant is setting up, that's when a restaurant doesn't open and then 6 months later come apply for an alcohol permit. Normally they want their permit when they're opening, and so I would think that's kind of where we're at on that aspect.
Who owns the building, and if the building is sold, where would the money go?
So the building is owned by, I'm looking at the original lease and the assignment right now. So the building is a bond for deed, so it's a lease to own. And so the current owners are Stuart Day Selassie and Renee Marie Selassie. And they had originally leased to the Denham Springs Church Project Inc., which is how that religious nonprofit at that time, under the old system, that's how they used the money to renovate the building or whatever. It is now, that lease has been assigned to the Mustard Seed Creamery Inc., and the property owner, the Salacies, consented to that assignment. So the Mustard Seed Creamery Inc. now has the bond for deed, so the lease to purchase.
So I'm sorry.
The Denham Springs Church Project is completely uninvolved. Like they assumed all of the obligations and liabilities and rights and responsibilities. So the Denham Springs Church Project Inc. has no affiliation with this building whatsoever anymore, from a lease legal standpoint, responsibility wise.
And if it's sold, where would the money go? Like if that building, are you saying was the building sold by them, Stephanie, or by the select? Like if they purchased the building, or if they sold the building? I'm sorry. What was your question, Stephanie?
So let's say they complete this bond for deed and they get the deed for the building.
Okay.
And then so Mustard Seed Creamery now has the deed. When that is sold, would any portion of that sale go back to the church, since the church originally paid for the building?
Well, right now, we would have, if we stopped meeting, we would have no money come back to us. So we assumed Stewart's original mortgage through this bond for deed. So if we said, hey, we're out, right now it's essentially like we would have no money back.
When you're saying we, are you speaking of the Mustard Seed?
My question was, when you complete it, when you have full ownership of the building as Mustard Seed Creamery.
That it won't have, so the way it's structured in December, so I guess it would, so in December of this year, we have to restructure the legal side of things. So there's no money that would come back to any organization. The Denham Springs, the Mustard Seed Creamery.
If you have a deed, at the end of the lease, you have a deed, and the building is sold, you will have money.
So she's saying we should.
Will any portion of that money need to go back to the church because you have used church money to pay for it?
If you make proceeds, if you have proceeds, if it goes above what you owe.
When this is done, and the Mustard Seed, so you have the bond for deed, so like lease to purchase. So when that term has been met and the Mustard Seed Creamery Inc. If the Mustard Seed Creamery Inc. sold it, would the Mustard Seed Creamery Inc. have to pay any money to the Denham Springs
No.
Church project?
No, I'm sorry, no.
Also I have a question. So y'all essentially just transferred over the bond for deed? Like
It was an
essentially,
assignment.
it was an assignment over, is it recorded with the clerk of court?
No.
I don't think the leases are,
Bond for
it would be,
deeds.
it would,
You can report them at the.
The original,
I
original bond for deed with the Celestis and the Denham Springs Church project is recorded.
It is
I
recorded.
haven't looked for anything, yeah, I haven't looked for any update on that. And again, it doesn't really matter to me because there is a church meeting in the building.
Right.
It is being used as a church building, and our ordinances say if it's being used as a church, then we cannot issue an alcohol license. So none of this other conversation changes my opinion on that.
Stephanie, can I ask you a question? Robert said it's not a dumb question, so I'm going to ask. Can a church rent time and space from an existing restaurant? If that
Yes.
restaurant's not open?
Yes, or churches can, a lot of times restaurants don't charge for that, but they expect the church to come in and purchase a certain amount of food during that time. This is something that's consistently done, but there's always an agreement that, this much food is gonna be purchased during this time, or an expectation that people are going to sit and eat while they meet in that building. And that's very different than what's happening here.
do you want them to
No,
buy food?
I think Jeff is saying if the business is closed and then a church came in at night and said, hey, we're gonna rent this space, while y'all are closed at night.
Or
But
from 10:30 to noon?
I feel like that would then fall into, now you have a multi-use space as a commercial
Yes, if it was a
space.
consistent thing, I
Yeah.
would say
That's
that is
in-
a church meeting in that building and we cannot issue an alcohol license to that restaurant.
Then you fall under, I would think, building code and zone, like that would then be raised,
But
if
it would
it's a
also be a
multi-use space.
consistent lease agreement for
Right.
that space.
That's true,
You know,
yeah, it would be a
with the
consistent
church in
lease
the
agreement.
space.
Yeah.
I feel like a Pharisee with enlarged phylacteries and long tassels asking you, why are you picking those heads of grain on the Sabbath?
Yes.
I think there's some other members, that would like to speak.
I'd like, to speak, I'm a councilwoman in the city of Central, and my husband and I are members of the Denham Springs Church Project. My address is 16877 River Birch Avenue, Greenwell Springs, Louisiana, 70739. My husband and I
Your name.
Deanne Wells. My husband and I joined the Denham Springs Church Project because I taught with Tim at a school in Livingston Parish, and he worked on the mission field as a pastor. He also was a pastor for many years, and when he came back from the mission field, specifically in an area in Swaziland, it was really hard for him to kind of acclimate into the American church and the way that we do it here, because he was so used to just organic church happening and in outreaches, and he helped a lot of the local churches here, Hill and Place, and other churches build churches overseas. So whenever we met Tim and Tasha, just really we were looking for a church home at that time, and their vision to reach the community without having man-made rules and more just a biblical mission sense made sense to us. And so we started meeting at their house, and whenever they began to talk about the Mustard Seed Creamery opening, we loved the idea, and then we ran into some roadblocks, and I completely understand ordinances. I will say this, Tim and Tasha have been completely transparent with us as a congregation. We love meeting there, we love their vision, but we do understand that they're at this point, and Mustard Seed Creamery Inc. And they're asking for an alcohol permit. And if we can't meet there as a church anymore, we understand, we will find another place to meet because we feel like God's calling us to that mission. But it's not the Denham Springs Church Project tonight asking for an alcohol permit. And like I said, was it heartbreaking whenever we heard that we may not be able to meet there on Sunday morning? Absolutely. But we know that we're meeting in a business, and we know that the city has ordinances. And so it's not the Denham, we support their request for an alcohol permit. We're okay in attending church in a building that sells alcohol during business hours. But if we can no longer do that because the business itself is asking for an alcohol permit and they get that permit, they have told us we will not be able to meet there on Sunday mornings. Yeah, it breaks my heart, but it's Denham Spring, it's the Mustard Seed Creamery asking for an alcohol permit. It is not the nonprofit Denham Springs Project asking for an alcohol permit. And as a church member, we've been told that creamery and that LLC comes first. And so I just want you to understand where our hearts are and why. It seems great, and I understand, Councilwoman Dugas, I understand it seems great. One of the first things whenever he got into it, we have council meetings on Tuesday, so this is the first one that I came to, and I said, what were you asked, like when you opened a permit, was it for a restaurant or was it for, because I wanted to go all the way back to what was said to the city, what was the conversation, because I understand it kind of seems like this is a little shady, maybe they were trying to do something and not be honest, but they're great people and they're just trying to serve the community the best way that they can. And if through serving the community as Mustard Seed Creamery, they feel like they're gonna reach more people, then they're gonna serve it as Mustard Seed Creamery LLC. And we're gonna have to find another place to meet or pray about it, or that's another conversation for another day. Tonight, it's about the creamery getting their alcohol permit. And we, as people who have been meeting there, we do support that and we understand that as a result, we may have to find another location.
I appreciate you addressing that. I do, but I think, and I appreciate that you went further. Went back to the beginning of the story. And I do not think any of us thought they were trying to be devious or misleading. I do think they jumped just feet first into a project with the best intentions, but business is business. And there were a lot of times that, like I said before, we just said, okay, well, we realized that this was a mistake. Let's work with this. Let's work with you. Let's do this. And we have done that numerous times. So when I say it makes me uncomfortable, it's because we have done that. And that's why I'm uncomfortable with it, because we have. And at a certain point, when, as a governmental entity, and as a council member, as an elected official, if you have continued to do that, at one point you're breaking the law. At another point, you are just doing such a huge disservice to the rest of the businesses and constituents. You have to draw a line and say, hey, I need black and white. We've got to follow these rules. So I just don't want a misinterpretation of the fact that we have worked with them, that we have really tried, and so is the administration and our attorney and our licensing departments from the time when they started building, really tried to and have worked with them on things. So now I think the fact that we have questions, it's just, I do appreciate it. I appreciate the opinion. I appreciate you looking at it, but there's a lot of.
To piggyback off of what Amber's saying, I appreciate what you brought to the table as well. But it still comes down to when we started this conversation earlier, we are meeting as a church on Sunday mornings. And then we want to be a restaurant. And now you're saying, well, we really, really want to be a restaurant.
Well, the original permit
we
was
can
a
find
restaurant,
another
though.
place to
The
meet.
original
So
permit.
hang on, it goes back to what I said last time. Do you want to be a restaurant or do you want to be a church? You can't have both.
It's my understanding, unless I'm misunderstanding this, the application for the original permit was for the restaurant. Because again, we're more missions we're mission minded. So we don't necessarily believe that a church is in a building. And like I said, many of us are from the mission field. So we had church wherever people would hear about Jesus. And so it looks as though this building was formed to be a church. It's been a great location. We've loved meeting there, but the creamery has really added value to the city of Denham Springs. And so while it's unfortunate we can't meet there as a church, if the Mustard Seed Creamery continues, we want to know people, we want to build relationships, and through those organic relationships, hopefully they'll find Jesus, right? And it seems like God's leading Mustard Seed Creamery LLC to do that, and it doesn't just seem like it is happening at the creamery level. And so it's the creamery asking for the alcohol permit, because while we love the word of God, we do live in the world, and we have to function with finances, right? So we have to keep the lights on and the building open. And so if that's but that is the role that they're playing now. When they first opened, I think we were just like, what's God going to do? Well, what God is doing is this creamery. So I know it looks like it's back and forth, but we're just trying as a congregation to listen to, okay, God, where are you leading us? And people are coming to the creamery, and those organic conversations are happening when they're open, and that's what we're seeing. And so again, if the church itself has to find another place, it's unfortunate, but God is moving through that creamery as a restaurant. And that is what our heart has been since day one. And so we're asking that restaurant get an alcohol permit so that it continues for the doors to be open.
Okay.
I don't discount that at all, and I think that God's gonna continue to lead you to do great things. But I think when it started tonight, you still came, even though you've made some progress into where you wanna go, you still came tonight saying, we are still meeting as a church, but we want our alcohol too, we want our restaurant too.
No, they came saying we're meeting as a restaurant, but we would love to meet as a church on Sunday mornings, but if it can't happen, we're meeting as a restaurant. They're meeting as a restaurant, period. It's a restaurant, it's a creamery. Their permit originally was a restaurant, but if our church can't meet in the restaurant, then we're gonna have to find another meeting place on Sunday mornings.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Now look, this has really turned into a much longer exercise than we had hoped, so we're gonna start. I will ask, I think we had 2 FARs. If there's anybody here that'd like to speak against, we're gonna do a 3-minute time limit. Yes, ma'am. Name and address, please, and I'll start you 3 minutes when you get to the podium, okay?
2114 Gerald Drive.
All right.
Yeah, y'all voted on this before. Stephanie stated the law. So why are we still here?
Okay.
It is a gray area. Right? We do need black and white. So, and of course, I remember when Livingston Parish was dry. And of course, I remember when stores were closed on Sunday. We can't go back to those days, I guess. But yeah, and I don't drink alcohol, but.
All right, thank you, ma'am. Appreciate that. All right, anybody else like to speak against? Any other comments from anybody? Name and address, come up to the podium. None? Okay. All right, council.
I'm prepared to make a motion to approve the request as
Second.
it's listed on item 9.
Motion by Poole to approve the request, second by Gilbert. Madam Clerk, would you call for the vote, please?
Douglas?
No.
Gilbert?
Yes.
Lamb Williams?
No.
Poole?
Yes.
Wesley?
Motion fails. All right, we're going on to item number 10.
Can I, just one point of order? And this may be a question for Stephanie. We're gonna appeal this to the district court, so, Stephanie, what's the process for the issuance of the denial letter?
She's already gone?
I'm sorry, y'all were breaking up for a minute. I didn't hear the vote or what the question was.
So,
The motion failed, and she's asking if there is a denial letter.
We can issue one. We don't routinely do that, but if it's something that you.
Yeah, it's legally required. We have 10 days from the date of a denial letter to file the appeal in district court, and we intend to do that, so.
Okay, we can do that. We can get you one within 10 days. We've never had this situation, and to my recollection, haven't denied one because we haven't had a reason to. So I will get that letter to you, within 10 days.
Okay, thank you.
thank you. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Stephanie.
Thank you. Bye.
All right, so we're gonna move on to item 10. Okay. Item 10, approve a request from Brianna Shakespeare at Thomas Riddle and with PMUD LLC DBA Philly Me Up Denham. Request a retail AR low restaurant outlet alcohol permit for the business located at 120 Bass Pro Boulevard, Suite A1 in Denham Springs, Louisiana. All the required paperwork has been submitted to Ira. It's located in the shopping center where Express Bowls used to be on Bass Pro Boulevard. Is there anybody here to represent the restaurant? Okay, but everything according to Ira is submitted and approved.
Okay. Motion approved.
Motion by Poole,
Second.
second by Dugas. Madam Clerk?
Dugas?
Yes.
Gilbert?
Yes.
Lamb Williams?
Yes.
Poole?
Yes.
Wesley?
Yes.
Item 11, adopt a resolution for Star Service Maintenance Agreement. This is an agreement that we took probably 4 or 5 years ago when we first moved into this building.
We actually had it before.
At the old locations, okay, so there's no price increase, the annual cost is $64,092. It covers maintenance and repairs, including filter changes for all HVAC equipment at all the locations of the city. Police, fire stations 1, 2, and 3, headquarters, street department, council on aging, admin, senior citizen, arts council, gas and motor pool departments, water department, sewer department, animal shelter, and city hall. It's been a really good program for us. They do filter changes, they do maintenance, and they do replacements, and it's all covered under the cost.
Motion to approve.
If there's a capacitor, a start capacitor that goes out, they replace that. Do we pay for the start capacitor?
Did it cover everything, right, Michelle?
There are a few items that it doesn't cover, but primarily it covers.
Almost everything.
They've been doing city business since I was a chief
Okay.
back in the day.
It's just a few years ago.
So we have,
That was back during the Lincoln administration.
They were replaced by fans.
motion by Gilbert, second by Wesley. Madam Clerk, call for the vote, please.
Dugas?
Yes.
Gilbert?
Yes.
Lamb Williams?
Yes.
Poole?
Yes.
Wesley?
Yes.
Item 12, adopt a resolution for an OPIS contract for $2,400. We have used these folks for several years, and it helps us maintain rack pricing for fuel. The contract did go up $116 from last year.
Motion approved.
Motion by Dugas,
Second.
second by Gilbert. Madam Clerk, call for the vote.
Dugas?
Yes.
Gilbert?
Yes.
Lamb Williams?
Yes.
Poole?
Yes.
Wesley?
Yes.
And item 13, approved audit and SAUP engagement letters with Haynes T. Bourgeois CPA. And we have Trey with us this evening. Good to see you.
He said, put me early next week.
I didn't expect it to go this long. Sorry, Trey.
Everything you want to know about churches, we're afraid to ask, right?
Yeah.
I get an opportunity to participate in a lot of board meetings and stuff like that. It's always interesting to see how things progress and how it operates and stuff like that. So while it was long and stuff, it was very interesting. Again, guys, I'm Trey Sanders with Haynes T. Bourgeois. We have our annual engagement letter for our audit is up for renewal. Typically, we do a 3-year audit engagement letter with you guys. We also are doing the statewide agreed upon procedures with the legislative auditor. I'll go over that engagement letter first. It's a smaller letter. The legislative auditor came up with these procedures about, I think in 2017. They covered about 14 areas in addition to the audit. And we've been doing those pretty much every year. You got us a reprieve during COVID about a year or two. And then last year when they reinstituted them for year 7 or year 6, they put it into a rolling 2-year period. So this year when we do those procedures, we do not have to do all of those procedures. We only have to look at the ones that y'all had an exception on last year. So this year, instead of testing those 14 areas, like 30-some additional procedures, we just have to look at 3 areas with your policies and procedures, your collections, and your credit card transactions, how y'all pay for expenses with credit card. It's a little additional procedures in addition to the normal audit process itself. We are required to be independent of you guys. We do it, of course, with government auditing standards. And once we're finished with those procedures, I'll come present a report to you. And that report is just going to tell you the results of those procedures and the procedures that we perform. We don't necessarily express an opinion or anything on those procedures. So that's what the legislative statewide agreed upon procedures engagement letter is. Again, this is just a one-year engagement letter. It'll just be for June 30th, 25. Next year, we'll come back and it'll probably be all 14 sections that we'll have to do the test work on. But the legislative auditor may change that. We don't know just yet.
And then you would do a 3-year, agreement?
We could either do a 3-year or 1 year, just depends. Typically, we do a 3-year if we know what's gonna happen down the road, but we don't know in this letter.
Okay.
Is there any questions on it, or? The bigger agreement letter, the audit engagement letter, typically we do a 3-year audit engagement letter. This one is for 25, 26, and 27. We'll come in and we do audit of the financial statements in accordance with government auditing standards, also in accordance with generally accepted auditing standards and all the state requirements we have to do. We come in, we're required to be independent of you guys, and we're actually auditing your financial statement numbers and giving you, expressing an opinion on those numbers. Going blank. When we're finished, we actually assist also in preparing your annual comprehensive financial report. We help put that package together. I know Michelle does all the statistical schedules and all that stuff. We help prepare that reporting package. We also, because you guys have been receiving federal money in excess of $750,000, we'll do a single audit in addition to that. So when we're finished, we're going to issue an express an opinion on your financial statements on them, telling you if we consider, which y'all always had, a modified or clean opinion. We'll also issue a report on your internal controls and compliance. We'll tell you guys if there's anything going on that y'all need to know about. If y'all are may have non-compliance in a certain area, or if there was a breakdown in your internal controls. And related to the single audit, we'll come in here and express an opinion on whichever programs, federal programs we have to test to make sure y'all are in compliance with those programs and stuff like that. We also look at your internal controls on that program, and we'll don't express an opinion on it, but we'll tell you if anything's going on with it. That's kind of a nutshell. We usually come out and start working on the audit. We do some interim work, and then we come out at year end and we do the year end field work, which would be close to the end of August. And we finish it up, come to you guys in December, present the financial statements and stuff. Yeah, we're asking for a 3-year engagement letter on that. Do you have any questions, specific questions on it, or?
Michelle, you're okay with that?
That was my next question.
Okay. Thank you, Trey. Any questions from the council? I'm sorry.
No,
Okay.
we're out of questions.
We're out of questions. So I'll take that as a motion for Wesley.
Yes.
Second by Lamb Williams. Madam Clerk, would you call for the vote, please?
Dugas?
Yes.
Gilbert?
Yes.
Lamb Williams?
Yes.
Poole?
Yes.
Wesley?
Yes.
Thank you, Trey. Appreciate it.
And as y'all always know, that this is a process for me also to talk to you guys just for a minute. If you ever have questions or concerns, we're always here and available. And Michelle and them do a great job, and we expect the same this year too. So,
Great.
Thanks, Trey.
Thank you, Trey. Appreciate that.
Thank you.
Item 14, approve the surplus of the following police department equipment: a 2015 Chevy Tahoe, unit number 572. The VIN is 1GNLC2ECOFR519533. One L-shaped desk asset number 10190. Desk asset numbers, 3 desks, 10210, 10202, and 10194. And a credenza and a hutch asset number 10203 and 10211.
Make a motion.
Motion by Wesley, second by Dugas.
Dugas?
Yes.
Gilbert?
Yes.
Lamb Williams?
Yes.
Poole?
Yes.
Wesley?
Yes.
Wesley, some of this furniture was probably in the PD whenever you were chief.
Probably before I was there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Item 15, approve the final acceptance of Yellow Jacket Boulevard improvements and payment estimate number 4 in the amount of $22,137 to area construction for the Yellow Jacket Boulevard improvements. Chad, is that yours? Okay.
I think Trey was the culprit for this meeting going so long.
Probably.
He is a bit of a troublemaker.
You can just see it all over him, right?
I see it all over. This project's been done for quite some time. The DOT project takes a while to close the paperwork out, probably longer than what it should have, but that was the whole redoing of Yellow Jacket Boulevard with the striping and all that. But we do recommend approval of the pay estimate number 4 and the final acceptance.
Trey, it's almost time to resurface that road by now.
Motion to approve.
I'll second.
Motion by Lamb Williams, second by Dugas. Madam Clerk, call for the vote, please.
Dugas?
Yes.
Gilbert?
Yes.
Lamb Williams?
Yes.
Poole? Wesley?
Yes. Item 16, approve payment application number 11 in the amount of $219,220.53 to L. King Company LLC Inc. for the Breakneck Water Well.
Yeah, this is the water well, it's finished, they got one more pay after retainage. There will be a deduct change order because they didn't use one of the test wells, so they covered test wells they could have used. But, so I'll be coming back once more on this one, but we do recommend approval on this pay app.
Now, Buff, you make a note to put him up at the front of the meeting agenda next time.
We're worth the wait, right?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Dugas to
Second.
approve, second by Gilbert. Madam Clerk, call for the vote.
Dugas?
Yes.
Gilbert?
Yes.
Lamb Williams?
Yes.
Poole?
Yes.
Wesley?
Item 17, approve payment application number 2 in the amount of $54,552.94 to Blunt General Contractors LLC for the Spring Park Pavilion.
Yeah,
Chad, is yours?
this is, one more payment after this as well with the retainage. I think they got the project completed, so Michelle's able to get most of the stakeout, I think all the stakeout amount they funding that was appropriated for it. But we recommend to approve this as well.
That thing really turned out nice.
Did they get the sign back up? And we took it down and put it, and then.
There was somebody working out there today. I'm not sure what they were
I'll
doing.
go check.
Okay, let me know. I think we stored it with George.
Okay,
All
you
right.
did.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Gilbert, second by Dugas. Madam Clerk, call for the vote, please.
Dugas?
Yes.
Gilbert?
Yes.
Lamb Williams?
Yes.
Poole?
Yes.
Wesley?
Yes.
On our roll.
Item 18, approve the final acceptance for the Spring Park Pavilion.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Gilbert, second by Dugas. Madam Clerk, call for the vote.
Dugas?
Yes.
Gilbert?
Yes.
Lamb Williams?
Yes.
Poole? Wesley?
Yes.
Thank you, Chad. You can beat the guy out of here. The last one, Eddie. Number 19, approve change order number 1 in the amount of $23,076 to L. King LLC for the Traveling Bridge Sand Filter Rehab 2025 project.
You look worried, brother.
I don't remember what it was about. Just kidding. So for both of these projects, the sand filter and the grit removal, we got a change order for both of them. These are pieces of equipment that are in service, so you never know what you're gonna find until you actually get in there. And that's the case with this change order. It wasn't quite what we thought it was. Once we got it cleaned out, we could see everything, and we believe that this is a fair representation of the additional work that's gonna have to be done. We recommend that you guys accept the change order.
Motion by Wesley,
Second.
second by Gilbert. Madam Clerk, call for the vote.
Dugas?
Yes.
Gilbert?
Yes.
Lamb Williams?
Yes.
Poole? Wesley?
Item 20, grit removal system rehab. That was the item that we added to the agenda.
Yes,
Eddie,
ma'am.
want to talk about that?
This is the same one. This change order is to do some additional concrete repair and coating. Again, once you get into the piece of equipment and you see what the real condition is, this is work that we need to do to preserve the integrity of that concrete structure. So we recommend that you guys accept this change order.
So you stayed there for more money, huh?
Yeah.
You stayed there for more money.
Oh, it does. That's going into the contract.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Gilbert,
Second.
second by Dugas. Madam Clerk, call for the vote, please.
Dugas?
Yes.
Gilbert?
Yes.
Lamb Williams?
Yes.
Poole?
Yes.
Wesley?
Motion by Lamb Williams
Thank you.
to adjourn, second by Poole.
Thank you.
Dugas?
Yes.
Gilbert?
Yes.
Lamb Williams? Yes. Poole?
Yes.
Wesley?
Thank y'all.
Get back along, come on. Wrangle the bubble.